Hail, friends and fellow tabletop gamers. 'Tis I, Nick, the ASMR nerd, and today we are going to venture forth on an epic ASMR journey into the world of 3D printing. 3D printing. With the help of this machine, well, these machines, but primarily this one right here, the Creality Halot-Mage Pro 3D printer. This is a cutting-edge machine, and it's where imagination and technology intertwine to realize your tabletop gaming dreams. It's actually quite magical. Now, I must admit that this is my first time ever using a 3D printer. So rather than giving you a traditional review where I get way deep into the specs and the nitty gritty of all the technical aspects, instead I'm going to share my experience as a first time user, a newbie user of 3D printers, and share just how easy it's been to set this thing up and to get fantastic quality prints out of it. Like this one right here. This is such a cool print. This amazing griffin. Really easy to get fantastic prints out of it, even with zero experience. And on that note, I have to give a huge shout out to this video's sponsor, Creality, for sending over both the Halot-Mage Pro printer back there, as well as their high quality fast resin for me to make some prints with, and their UW02 washing and curing station, which you see next to the 3D printer right there, so that I can get the best quality prints possible and share the full experience with all of you. I've been really curious about 3D printing for a long time, and I've just never had the opportunity to dive into it. So when Creality reached out, asked if I'd like to check out their stuff and do a video, I jumped on it. I was all about it, and I'm really glad I did. Creality is a big name in the 3D printing space, and I was really keen to check out their product, and you will see just what it's capable of here today. So if you're interested in picking up any of these items yourself, the Creality Halot-Mage Pro, the UW02 washing and curing station, or Creality's resins, check out the links down below in the video description. Now, obviously, you can 3D print pretty much whatever you want, as long as you have a digital model of the thing. You can print housewares and replacement parts and fun collectibles and all kinds of things. And because I'm the ASMR nerd, I'm going to be focusing on the nerdy side of stuff today. So the tabletop gaming and collectible side of things. You can print all kinds of amazing items that are going to level up your games of D&D, of Warhammer and other tabletop war games. Not just, miniatures like this fun little, it's going to focus for me. There we go. This fun little mimic right here. Well, fun's maybe a little bit of a weird word. It's kind of a terrifying mimic, but it's a very detailed looking mimic, isn't it? Stuff like that, to larger models like this fella right here by the name of Cardioth. Again, beautifully detailed. To terrain items, set pieces, all kinds of stuff. So that was really my focus. And fortunately, Creality's Halot-Mage Pro back there is really good at printing extremely finely detailed models, the kinds that you might want to use for tabletop gaming or collectible purposes. It's what's called an MSLA resin-based printer, and detailed printing is precisely what it excels at. So here's another D&D mini that I printed earlier, and look at the detail on this guy, the detail on the fur. And yes, this is a Sharkenbear. It's a bear with sharks for arms. But look at the detail on the fur, on the gills, on the bear's face, an extreme amount of detail packed into this very small miniature. And it was super duper easy to print. So the Halot-Mage Pro is what's called an MSLA printer. That stands for Masked Stereolithography Apparatus, which is quite the mouthful, but it basically means that this printer uses a very powerful LED light source and an extremely high resolution specialized LCD screen to selectively mask and cure very, very thin layers, layer upon layer upon layer. And in doing so, it builds up a 3D model with extreme detail. This is compared to the other common type of 3D printer. You might be familiar with a filament deposition type printer that uses a filament rather than the sort of liquidy resin that this MSLA style printer uses. And the benefit of an MSLA printer like this is that it can get those very fine layers and those extreme details much more finely than an FDM filament deposition type printer can. And that is, of course, perfect for achieving incredible detail like this on tabletop gaming miniatures and collectible models. The Halot-Mage Pro features a 10.1 inch 8K LCD screen, so figure out what that is. It's a very high pixels per inch value. It allows for features smaller than 30 microns on the horizontal axis. 30 microns. I'm a scientist and I study very small things as part of my work under a microscope. 30 microns, that's very tiny. That's extremely small. And you pair this with the Dynax motion system. Dynax is what they call it, which allows for vertical movements of less than 50 microns. So you've essentially got pixels in your 3D model that are smaller than 30 microns by 50 microns. That's some incredible, incredible detail. And that's paired with what they're calling their integral light source 3.0, which apparently is a more even, reliable, and quicker curing light source as well. And yeah, speaking of fast curing, you might be concerned that all this detail comes at the cost of print speed. That is going to take forever to print your minis with all this extreme detail. But the good news is, the Creality Halot-Mage Pro is one of the fastest printers of its kind. It's capable of printing at about 170 vertical millimeters per hour. That's really fast for these kinds of things, and it means you can pretty easily print, normal height miniatures in under an hour. I've tested this out and it works. That thing is almost scary fast sometimes. Now, as a first-time user, my very first ever 3D printing experience, I will admit I was a bit nervous. I was a bit apprehensive that this was going to be really difficult to do or tough to set up. But the good news is the Halot-Mage Pro is super, super easy to set up. Basically no assembly required. It's really user-friendly. I got it set up very quickly and got to my first prints very quickly as well. And it comes with a whole bunch of safety and convenience features to make things easier for you. It's got a really easy auto leveling plate. It's got a smart resin pump built in. It's got an activated charcoal air filter, and it's got a handy dandy tube that you can route out the back and out a window to vent fumes. So it's set up to be as beginner friendly and comfortable to use as possible. It's also got a ton of different connectivity options, whether you want to plug in by USB. It's got an Ethernet jack. It's got Wi-Fi. You can use the Creality app to access it. It's really straightforward, very, very connected. Now, before you can print a model, you have to slice the 3D file into digital layers that the printer can understand and print. And for slicing software, the Halot-Mage Pro supports a couple of popular options, including Lychee Slicer and Chitabox. The latter is supplied with the printer, and you get a 1-year license to the Pro version of Chitabox. So I checked that out. And you can also use Creality's own Halot-Box software, which functions very similarly and is entirely free for use with this printer. These softwares allow you to import the models, rotate and scale models. You can scale them up or down. You can arrange multiple models on the print plate. They also allow you to automatically support your models, because when a model prints, as you'll see in a moment, it prints with supports that keep it adhered to the plate and stop pieces from falling off as it prints and that kind of thing. It's kind of like a scaffolding. And you can get pre-supported models that come with those supports baked in, or you can have your software automatically generate those supports. And Halot-Box does a fine job of that, as well as then slicing the models and exporting them in preparation for printing. With the help of a couple of online tutorials, I figured out the software. It was actually really quite easy, and I was up and printing in no time. And after that relatively straightforward setup and learning curve, I was up and printing. So the first thing that I printed was this Cardioth fellow right here, which is actually one of the files that comes with the printer. There's a handful of files that come on a USB stick that comes with the printer. This guy is one of them. He's a good demo and a good test for putting the printer through its paces for the first time. And at default settings, it took him a couple of hours to print, but he's a pretty big guy. He's a big mini. And for my first print, I think he came out pretty good. I've primed him with some basic flat white primer, but I haven't painted him beyond that. But you can see the level of detail is pretty phenomenal. Pretty phenomenal. As I was mentioning, each model is printed with these supports, which have to be removed before washing and final curing. The supports generally come off pretty easily. You can just snap them off with your hands. If they're a little stiffer or tougher, you can use a little modeling knife or a little pair of modeling clippers, or you can even use like a hairdryer or a heat gun to soften them up a bit to make it so that they can be more easily removed. After that, each model has to be washed. It depends on the type of resin you're using, but typically you want to wash your model with isopropyl alcohol, although there are water washable resins as well. But I used isopropyl alcohol, which removes any goopy resin that might still be clinging to the model. And then you cure the models under UV light, which gives them a final harden and a finish and finalizes the print. Creality was kind enough to send me over their UW02 all-in-one washing and curing station that makes this washing and curing process a breeze. It makes it really, really easy. Doing these steps with a machine like the UW02 ensures really high quality results for your prints. And the UW02 in particular has a large capacity, which allows you to wash and cure large prints or multiple smaller models all at the same time, which saves you time. Go through that process and voila, like magic, you've printed a 3D model. You've taken something that was digital inside a computer and you've turned it into a physical object. It really is kind of like magic in a way. And these prints are so beautiful and so detailed. Like I love this Gengar that you saw, going through the process there earlier, now finalized. This is the raw finished print. It's been cured, but I haven't primed it or anything like that. And I certainly haven't painted it, but I have primed, as you saw, some of these prints. I'll bring back out this this griffin because it's just so cool. It's one of my favorites that I think I've printed so far. This one printed in a few pieces, which I then glued together, although it is of a size where you could print the whole thing at once if you wanted. The print volume on the Halot-Mage Pro is not bad. It's pretty sizable for the type of printer that it is and for the type of models that you're printing. So you can print bigger stuff like griffins, dragons, manticores, tarasques, whatever your heart desires, beholders, any number of things. And yeah, like I said, I have actually printed or painted a couple of these as well. But you know what? Here, I'll show you before we get into those. I'll show you some of these other prints that I haven't painted yet. These are ones that you saw going through the pipeline there. Here is a club penguin. These were requested by some folks on my Discord server, friends. If you're ever interested in hanging out with myself and my community, or our community here, when I'm not, live streaming or anything, come check out the Discord server. There is a link down below in the video description for that. And we have a wonderful group of folks there. And I just kind of threw it out to the server and asked, what would you like to see 3D printed? So someone requested a club penguin. There it is, right there, fresh out of the printer. I printed this Gengar, this ornate Gengar, because I just thought it was really rad. By the way, I'll put links for these models. They're all freely available. I'll put links for them down below in the video description as well. I had someone request that I printed a Mimic, and I already printed a Mimic, but I found another one that is like maybe even more grotesque. This one right here is terrifying. It's an eldritch horror, to be sure, but it looks incredible coming out of that printer. The detail on these models is insane. Truly remarkable and relatively quick. Like, I printed like these along with the club penguin and a couple others, including a Minecraft creeper, another request from the Discord server, and a Shy Guy from Mario right here, a Shy Guy from Mario, which was another request from the Discord. All of them all at once took slightly over an hour to print, which is pretty remarkable, and they all came out pretty darn good. I'm really looking forward to painting the Gengar here in particular, because I think it's going to look fantastic. But actually doing this, getting this printer set up, printing all these models, learning about 3D printing has rekindled my passion for painting miniatures, because I used to play Warhammer back in the day. In fact, there's a video on the channel from like many years ago where I do a little bit of painting of some high elves, I think. But it's been a darn long time since I printed minis in a real way. And one of the things I printed earlier was this adorable golden retriever wizard right here. And I then painted it up. And I had such a great time doing it. And so this is kind of like reacquainted me with my artistic side. And I know it's not amazing. I didn't do an incredible job or anything, but cut me some slack. It's the first thing I've printed or painted in a very long time. And certainly, the printer held up its part of the bargain. The model is, very small, but still incredibly detailed. A really, really good boy. The goodest of boys. Golden Retriever Wizard. And yeah, I had a lot of fun painting that up. I've also got a owlbear that's like half painted here. It's not done yet, but you can see, hopefully. There you go. he's underway. And again, incredible detail, beautiful detail, and all that fur and feathers there. And I even printed a little baby owlbear, a small, adorable owlbear, so cute. Perhaps familiar to players of Baldur's Gate 3. What an adorable little beastie. And so it's been a really fun process discovering models online. There are ample numbers, like tons and tons of freely available 3D models that you can print, like these ones here. There are perhaps even more that you can, sign up to their creators' feeds basically and get models every month. Some free, many paid. There's a whole cottage industry out there that I've been slowly discovering of incredible 3D models for tabletop gaming. The quality is just unreal, and the amount of them that are available is unreal too. If you like subscribe to some of these creators, you get tons of cool stuff every month. So anyway, that's been a fun journey of discovery, and my friends as well have been really excited about this printer because I have a group of friends that's big into tabletop gaming, and they've been all over this, being like, "Oh, all this stuff we can print now," and some of them have been taking me down that rabbit hole of all the 3D models that are available. And this thing, the Halot-Mage Pro, it handles it all like a champ. The models that it produces are of extremely high quality. The detail, as you've seen, is phenomenal. And as I've said a few times now, the best part of all is how easy this was to do, how easy it is to set up, how quickly you can get phenomenal models out of this thing, and how much I've enjoyed that process. And then painting them and using them. It's been a blast. So overall, I've been extremely pleased with Creality's Halot-Mage Pro. Their fast resin, which is what I use to print all these models you saw here. Their UWO2 washing and curing station could not be easier to set up and use. Again, as a first-time 3D printer and user of any of this stuff, I came into this apprehensive. I've come out of it inspired and excited by all this stuff that I'm able to create. And like I said, my friend group is as well. This has been fantastic and exciting for all of us. And if you are a first-time user, you're concerned about, the challenge of setting this stuff up, don't be concerned. It's really straightforward. It took very little time. And like I said, I was getting phenomenal results basically right out of the box, very, very easily. So for me, as a first-time user, Creality's Halot-Mage Pro and the UWO2 washing station has been a fantastic experience, which I have enjoyed immensely. And on that note, I would like to once again extend a huge thank you to Creality for supplying the Halot-Mage Pro, the UWO2, the resin, which I printed all this stuff with, and for reaching out in the first place, because honestly, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. As I said, I've been interested in 3D printing for a long time, excited about the idea. I was just apprehensive about it, but it turns out it's much easier than I thought it would be. So a big thank you to Creality for supplying all this stuff you saw here in the video today, and for indeed sponsoring this video so that you guys could check it out as well. And on that note, if you are interested in picking up the Halot-Mage Pro, the UWO2, the resin, any of that for yourself, please check out the links down below in the video description. You'll find them there, and you can learn all kinds of other details about the printer there as well if you like. So once again, links down below at the top of the video description. And I should say, now that I have this newfound power to print pretty much whatever I want, and I've started painting again, I would really like to do a painting video in the future. So if you have something that you would like me to print and paint in a future video, leave a suggestion down below in the comments. I would love to hear what you have in mind, and I look forward to having the opportunity to paint some more stuff and to do a painting video with all of you in the future. My friends, thank you for coming on this journey, this adventure into 3D printing with me today. I hope that it was as interesting, fascinating, and fun for you as it has been for me. But above all, I hope you found it relaxing, and I look very forward to having you back here next time. Farewell for now, my friends. But wait, there's more. Right now, for the low cost of $0, you get to see all of this channel's amazing supporters, and they are very deserving of special thanks. These fine folks support what I do here on YouTube through my Patreon and through my YouTube memberships. And if you, dear viewer or listener, would like to be amongst these fine individuals, well, you'll find links down below near the top of the video description, which will get you to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships, where you can peruse the various tiers that are available and the various perks that you get at each tier. And I'm sure you can find a tier that is right for you. There's one particular tier, a very special tier, the Fusro-Da tier, that gets their names read out in a special spoken shout out in every single one of my videos. And you are about to hear those names right now, starting with Ragnar Ragnarsson, Odinson, Jake Loveney, Rango Steele, K Time, Drummer Brit, and Angel Garcia. Legendary folks for good reason. They're incredibly kind, as are all the individuals who support what I do here. I appreciate them all so very much. So to all this channel supporters, current and future, thank you.